I don't have time to exercise because I need to finish this project. I'll spend time with family after I get this promotion. I'll focus on my health when things slow down at work. Do any of these sound familiar? These seemingly reasonable trade-offs are actually the most expensive decisions you'll ever make. The data shows that professionals who sacrifice personal time for work don't just lose their well-being, they actually underperform compared to those who maintain boundaries. Today, I'm breaking down the science of why balance creates success, not the other way around, and the precise system to implement it without falling behind on your goals. We've all heard it before, the narrative that says you must choose, excel in your career, or have a fulfilling personal life. This false dichotomy has been woven into our cultural fabric so deeply that we've accepted it as an immutable truth. The grind never stops. Sleep when you're dead. Hustle 24/7. These aren't just catchy phrases. They represent a dangerous mindset that's fundamentally at odds with how humans actually perform at their best. Let's confront this head on. The research overwhelmingly contradicts this sacrifice narrative. A comprehensive study from Stanford University found that productivity per hour declines sharply when a person works more than 50 hours a week. After 55 hours, productivity drops so significantly that putting in additional hours would be pointless. Yet somehow, we're working more than ever. With the average knowledge worker now connected to work for nearly 72 hours per week when you include email and messaging. What's particularly fascinating is that professionals who establish clear boundaries consistently outperform their always-on counterparts. This isn't just about feeling better, it's about measurable performance. Research from the Harvard Business Review tracked high-performing executives and found that those who deliberately disconnected from work and protected recovery time demonstrated superior decision-making abilities and maintained their performance over longer periods. This brings us to what researchers call the productivity paradox, the counterintuitive reality that working longer hours actually produces diminishing returns and eventually negative outcomes. Microsoft Japan experimented with a 4-day work week and saw productivity jump by 40%. Similarly, when Perpetual Guardian in New Zealand shifted to a 4-day week, they reported not only maintained productivity, but improved staff satisfaction and reduced stress levels by 45%. The neuroscience behind this is compelling. Your brain isn't designed for constant focus and production. When you force it into extended periods of work without proper rest, you activate what neuroscientists call the depletion effect. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for complex thinking, decision-making, and creative problem-solving, begins to shut down. In this state, you're not just working inefficiently, you're actively undermining your own capabilities. Even more striking is research on disconnection and creative problem-solving. Studies from the University of California found that periods of mental rest allow the brain to form new neural connections, leading to those aha moments that rarely occur when you're actively grinding away at a problem. The brain's default mode network, active during rest, is directly linked to innovation and insight. By depriving yourself of downtime, you're literally preventing some of your best ideas from emerging. This stands in stark contrast to the glorified image of the always-on professional. When we examine the routines of truly exceptional performers across fields, from musicians to athletes to business leaders, we find a common thread. They're religious about their recovery time. They understand something most of us miss. High performance isn't about maximizing work hours. It's about optimizing your energy and cognitive capacity during the hours you do work. The evidence extends beyond individual performance to organizational outcomes. A study of consultants by Boston Consulting Group implemented predictable time off, where consultants were required to completely disconnect from work for specified periods. The results were telling: improved client service, more effective collaboration, and higher reported job satisfaction, all while delivering the same work output in fewer hours. But here's what we rarely talk about: the hidden costs when we fail to establish these boundaries. A recent Gallup survey found that over 60% of workers struggle with maintaining a healthy work-life balance, with nearly half reporting significant stress that affects both their physical health and relationships. The psychological term for this is work identity fusion, when your sense of self becomes so entangled with your professional role that you lose perspective on what matters beyond work. This fusion is associated with higher rates of burnout, depression, and even cardiovascular issues. What's perhaps most troubling is how this imbalance compounds over time. Each extra hour at work doesn't just take away from personal time in that moment. It creates a deficit that accumulates, gradually eroding the very relationships and experiences that make life meaningful. And ironically, it's those meaningful connections and experiences that fuel our most innovative and valuable contributions at work. That accumulated deficit of personal time isn't inevitable. It's the direct result of lacking a personalized boundary system. What I've discovered through working with thousands of professionals is that the most fulfilled individuals don't follow generic work-life balance advice. Instead, they create intentional frameworks that adapt to their unique circumstances and priorities. The reason traditional balance advice fails is because it treats balance as a fixed destination rather than what it truly is, a dynamic, ever-evolving practice. Balance isn't something you achieve once and maintain forever. It's a continuous process of assessment and adjustment, like a thermostat rather than a temperature setting. Your personal balance framework must be as unique as your fingerprint because it needs to account for your specific energy patterns, career stage, family situations, and personal values. What works for your colleague or even your past self may not serve your current reality. The challenge is intensified with remote and hybrid work environments. While these arrangements offer unprecedented flexibility, they've also dissolved the natural boundaries that once separated our professional and personal lives. Your living room becomes your office, and your kitchen table transforms into your conference room, and suddenly work seeps into every corner of your home and your mind. Without intentional barriers, you're perpetually available and never fully present in either domain. Real-world developers and tech professionals have pioneered practical boundary-setting strategies worth adopting. One particularly effective approach involves creating both physical and mental separations between work and personal life. Some use dedicated devices, a work laptop that stays closed after hours, and a personal device free from work applications. Others designate specific workspaces that psychologically signal when they're at work versus at home, even within the same physical environment. Mental rituals prove equally powerful. One developer described how closing their remote desktop connection at day's end serves as a concrete signal that work has concluded. Another explained their practice of powering down work devices completely, not just sleeping them, to create a definitive break between professional and personal time. These small but significant actions help reclaim the transition period once provided by a commute. Time blocking emerges as another essential technique for protecting what matters while maintaining professional effectiveness. Rather than allowing your day to unfold reactively, designate specific blocks for different types of work. Checking messages, attending meetings, and tackling mentally intensive tasks. Anchor these blocks around your peak productivity periods. Are you sharper in the morning or afternoon? Schedule your most demanding work during those times and protect personal priorities by blocking them with equal commitment. For example, one professional I worked with blocks 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. for focused work, deliberately ending early to ensure ample time for family and exercise before dinner. Another works from 8 to 5 with clear beginnings and endings, allocating evenings entirely to personal hobbies and relationships. Both approach their schedules with intention rather than default, designing frameworks aligned with their unique priorities. Mindfulness practices offer valuable tools for recognizing when work begins encroaching on your well-being. Simple meditation or breath awareness techniques increase your sensitivity to your own emotional and physical states. This heightened awareness helps you notice when you're suppressing personal needs to accommodate work demands, like recognizing tension in your shoulders as a signal you've been sitting too long, or catching yourself checking email during family dinner. Perhaps most crucial is developing the communication skills to establish boundaries with management. This conversation isn't about working less, it's about working more effectively. When approaching your manager, frame boundary discussions around prioritization. With these three major projects, where would you like me to focus my attention first? This collaborative approach ensures alignment while preventing the expectation of handling everything simultaneously. If workload consistently exceeds reasonable capacity, propose solutions. I've noticed we're consistently facing these bottlenecks. Would it make sense to streamline this process or consider additional support? This problem-solving orientation positions you as invested in team success while still advocating for sustainable expectations. The power of these strategies becomes evident when tailored to individual circumstances. And a developer in their 30s with young children might create strict device cutoffs to ensure quality family time, while someone in their 20s might focus on establishing early career boundaries to prevent burnout patterns from forming. Your framework should evolve with your life circumstances, expanding or contracting as needed to accommodate changing responsibilities and priorities. Let's be honest, we've made this journey about strategies and frameworks, but true balance comes down to one thing: intentional action. The key isn't finding the perfect system, it's building one boundary at a time. Research shows that starting with something as simple as a 5-minute tech-free break each day can initiate powerful change. This small step acknowledges that shifting ingrained habits requires patience and consistency. Your greatest contribution isn't measured in hours worked or emails answered. It's your full presence in each moment of your life. The path to balance begins with a single boundary that honors what truly matters to you.